The Miami Herald just heralded a death knell for Casey DeSantis' political career, and it hasn't even started yet, which is an achievement of some kind. I'm David Reddish. Welcome back to Occupy Democrats. In case you missed it, Florida governor and diminutive presidential candidate Ron DeSantis and his wife Casey have become the focus of a major investigation for misappropriation of taxpayer dollars. In short, DeSantis rerouted taxpayer money from government quavers to a charity run by Casey DeSantis, who then funneled the money to dark money groups to aid Ron DeSantis' re-election campaign. It's a little confusing, so here, let's have a look at a breakdown.
All right, so here's what I can basically say is that the state of Florida learned that they were being overbilled for Medicaid and that they were owed $67 million. And the Ron DeSantis administration told that company, okay, return $57 million to the Florida taxpayers and send $10 million to the Hope Florida Foundation. Now, under state rules and laws, you are supposed to reveal any details of a settlement with a company that you're returning money to the state of Florida to. They never reported the $10 million to Hope Florida Foundation. That came out later. From there, within days of the money going into the Hope Florida Foundation, a nonprofit, the money was then diverted to two political committees that then transferred the money to a third political committee, Keep Florida Clean, which was being run by then Governor Ron DeSantis' chief of staff, James Uthmeyer, who today is the sitting attorney general in Florida. And they used that money, it is believed, to fight the marijuana initiative. So to put it as succinctly as possible, money that should have been returned to taxpayers ended up in a political action committee controlled and designated by the governor to fight a political campaign. And the state house has been holding hearings. Nobody is willing to go as far as to say there's criminality for sure. But in speaking to the chairman of the committee that's investigating this, a Republican chairman, mind you, he does say that the Department of Justice and the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Florida should look into this because this was Medicare dollars, partly federal dollars that should have been returned to the state of Florida and were not. And there's a larger question here, too. Now, the governor has failed to actually address any of these issues. Hope Florida was the signature program by Casey DeSantis. And as you know, there's been a lot of speculation that Casey DeSantis wants to run for governor.
Did you get all that? It gets even worse for Casey DeSantis, so stay with me here. In essence, this is a kind of embezzlement scandal, one designed to help launch Casey DeSantis' own gubernatorial bid. The defeat of the recreational marijuana initiative gave Ron a win going into his second term as governor, and it gave Casey DeSantis a key issue for her to run on. Since the scandal broke, Casey DeSantis has defended herself and Hope Florida, though dodged key questions about the $10 million in question. Even the GOP-controlled Florida legislature has soured on DeSantis, and an investigation into the Hope Florida scandal uncovered evidence of wire fraud and money laundering. So there's that. Now the Miami Herald has some even grimmer news for Casey and Ron DeSantis. Miami Herald journalist David Catanese now reports that insiders close to Casey DeSantis say she's rethinking her bid for governor in light of the Hope Florida scandal. According to the same report, two other figures overshadow her ambitions. The first is Congressman Byron Donalds, a popular Republican legislator who once talked about how Jim Crow laws were good for African American families. You know, the kind of thing that plays really well in Florida. Donalds has already amassed a reported $15 million in just 45 days since announcing his own bid for governor. Polling also has him destroying Casey DeSantis in a primary by 19 points. The second figure in this mess, you guessed it, Donald Trump, who will never forgive DeSantis for running against him in the 2024 GOP primary. Forget that DeSantis had what political journalist Damrick Heath called the worst-run campaign in the history of the Iowa primaries. Forget that DeSantis on the debate stage looked more like something found in an Orlando theme park ride rather than the governor's mansion. And forget that he wears high-heeled boots and eats pudding with his fingers. If you can. Trump hated DeSantis already, but with the governor's popularity imploding over this Hope Florida scandal, Trump hates him even more for being a loser. Think about that one. In other words, Casey DeSantis' political career fizzled before it even started. So, nope to both DeSantises. It's not too late for Dancing with the Stars. And you could both wear matching heels there. This is Occupy Democrats.